Welcome to the Stage 5 video series. In this video, we will practice using the second conditional. We will learn how to use the second conditional with the modal verbs would and could. We will also practice using the second conditional with the structure would be able plus to plus the infinitive of a verb. We use the second conditional to speak about impossible, imaginary, or hypothetical situations. These can be in the present or the future. We'd use the second conditional in English to speak about something in the present that is impossible because it is not true. When we make a second conditional sentence to speak about the present, we may be speaking about today, now, this week, this month, this year, etc. We can also use the second conditional to speak about something in the future that is imaginary or hypothetical. When we make a second conditional sentence to speak about the future, we may be speaking about later today, tomorrow, next week, in 2 hours, etc. If we want to make a second conditional sentence with a certain or definite result, we use the structure if plus past tense plus would plus the infinitive of a main verb. By using the modal verb would, we communicate that we are certain of a result. For example, we can say, if Mark had a pet, he would have a dog. In this sentence, we use the second conditional because Mark does not have a pet. We are imagining this situation. In our second example, we can say, if John was on holiday, he would be camping in the mountains. We use the second conditional because we are speaking about an imaginary situation. In our third example, we can say, if Susan had free time, she would watch a film. We use the second conditional in this sentence because we are speaking about an unreal situation. Susan does not have free time, she is working at the moment. Here is one final example. If Adam had €1,000,000, he wouldn't work. We use the second conditional because Adam does not have €1,000,000. We are imagining this situation. We can also use the modal verb could to make sentences in the second conditional. We use the modal verb could when we want to communicate ability. To make second conditional sentences with ability, we use the structure if plus past tense plus could plus infinitive. For example, we can say, if he saved money, he could buy a new car. In this sentence, we use the second conditional because John is not saving money at the moment. We are imagining a situation. We use the modal verb could to emphasize ability. Here is a second example. If Susan was at home now, we could ask her to help us. In this sentence, we use the second conditional because Susan is not home at the moment. We are imagining an impossible situation. We use the modal verb could to emphasize the ability to ask Susan for help. Here is a third example. If John practiced the piano every day, he could improve. We use the second conditional because John does not practice the piano. We are speaking about a hypothetical situation. We use the modal verb could to speak about ability. In second conditional sentences, we use the modal verb could to communicate ability. When we use the modal verb could, we must follow the modal verb with the infinitive of a main verb. For example, if I was a bird, I could fly. In this sentence, you can see that we use the second conditional structure if plus past tense plus could plus infinitive to communicate an imaginary or impossible situation. It is important to remember that when we use the modal verb could, we can only use the infinitive form of a main verb. If we want to speak about ability using the second conditional, we can also use the structure would be able plus to plus the infinitive. In a second conditional sentence, we use if plus past tense plus would be able to plus infinitive. Here is an example of this structure. If Laura was in France, she would be able to practice French every day. In this sentence, we use the second conditional because Laura is not in France. We communicate possibility by using the structure would be able plus to plus the infinitive. Let's compare some second conditional sentences using the modal verb could, or the structure would be able plus to plus the infinitive, to speak about possible imaginary or hypothetical situations. If John had time, he could study more. Or, if John had time, he would be able to study more. In these sentences, we use the second conditional because John does not have a lot of time. We are imagining a situation. By using the structure could plus the infinitive in the first sentence, and the structure would be able plus to plus the infinitive in the second sentence, we are communicating possible ability. Each sentence has the same meaning. Here is another example. If Sue had a car, she could drive to the airport. Or, if Sue had a car, she would be able to drive to the airport. In these sentences, we use the second conditional because Sue does not have a car. We are imagining a situation. By using the structure could plus the infinitive in the first sentence, and the structure would be able plus to plus the infinitive in the second sentence, we are communicating possible ability. The first sentence has the same meaning as the second sentence. Finally, we can say, if Mike was good at football, he could play on a team. Or, if Mike was good at football, he would be able to play on a team. In these sentences, we use the second conditional because Mike is not good at football. We are speaking hypothetically. By using the structure could plus the infinitive in the first sentence, and the structure would be able to plus the infinitive in the second sentence, we are communicating possible ability. The first sentence has the same meaning as the second sentence. In this video, we have learned that we use the second conditional to speak about situations in the present that are impossible because they are not true. We also learned that we can use the second conditional to speak about situations in the future that are unreal, imaginary, or hypothetical. We learned that when we use the modal verb would in second conditional sentences, we are speaking about a definite result. For example, if I ate in a restaurant tonight, I would eat steak. We learned that when we use the modal verb could in second conditional sentences, we are speaking about possible ability. For example, if John worked hard, he could get a promotion at work. We also practiced using the structure would be able plus to plus the infinitive of a verb in second conditional sentences to speak about possible ability. For example, if John worked hard, he would be able to get a promotion at work. This video was brought to you by the Central School of English, an English school in Dublin. For more lessons, go to centralschool.ie.